Senator Xenophon. Senator Ruston.
Thank you, Mr President. I rise tonight to speak on something that I think is tremendously important, and that is our field days and our show societies and our shows. I'd just like to put on the record that tomorrow morning the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society of South Australia will be opening its gates for the 175th year of the Royal Adelaide Show, which actually makes it the second oldest institution in South Australia after the South Australian Police Force. I should also put on the record I have a very good reason and vested interest in why I think this is such a fantastic institution. As for the next 10 days, I will be the President's wife, and we'll enjoy very much partaking in what I think is a great institution in South Australia, and one which I think, as Senator Xenophon has supported me, is something that all South Australians, as I'm sure Senator McEwen would as well, all South Australians can be extraordinarily proud of. But I rise to speak about the importance of the show, not because of that reason and my connection with it, but because I think it's such an important vehicle through which we sell the message of the country. It's become quite obvious of recent times that people who live in the city are losing a connection with where their food and their fibre comes from. And our city cousins, we did when we did some surveying, found that many of the children that we surveyed actually hadn't spent any time on a farm and actually didn't have any connection with somebody who lived in the country. And in the past, I think we all, when we were growing up, used to say, even if those people who lived in the city always had some connection with the country, and slowly but surely that connection is diminishing. So our show societies and our shows and our field days play such an extraordinary important role, because the shows are not just about scary rides and sideshows and dippy dogs and fairy floss. I think our show system is about education, it's about promotion, as well as being about fun and entertainment. And it's amazing watching the city kids when they turn up at the show, because many of them have never seen a cow be milked, they've never seen a sheep shorn, they've probably never patted an alpaca, they probably don't even know what one looks like. So it is extraordinarily important that we keep maintaining that connection between the country and the city. But it's not just the big city shows that happen around the country, and there's some great shows that go on, but it's also about the feeder activities that feed into the show, and they're really important, which are the country shows and the country field days. And in 15 days' time, the Riverland Field Days will open their gates for the Riverland as a showcase of what happens there. In 1958, we had our first Riverland Field Day, and during that year they had 26 exhibitors. In 50 years later, they had 500, and we have nearly 600 exhibitors will be exhibiting at the Riverland Field Days in 2 weeks' time. And I'd just like to put on the record my congratulations for the extraordinary work that all the volunteers do to put these sorts of shows on. The organisers of the Riverland Field Days just like to acknowledge the chairman, Ashley Chabrel, and his committee of Anthony Forward, John Spronk, Ian Webber, Sterling Sykes, Dwayne Lesky, John Plush, Wes Kalish, Stephen Ludis and James Butler, and the ever hard-working manager, Tim Grieger and Anne Stepien. Apart from Tim and Anne, all of these people put in massive amounts of hours of their time for nothing to put on this show, which is so extraordinarily important for the community that I live in the Riverland. And I would imagine that every other member that lives in a regional community would equally be able to stand up and say how important their field day or their agricultural show is to their community. It's the importance of agriculture in our communities across South or across Australia cannot be understated. As I've said a million times in this place, if you can't dig it out of the ground and you don't grow it, you're actually not creating new wealth. And so for our agricultural communities, the opportunity to be able to network, to undertake extension work, to go along and share information about research and things that are happening on the farm is amazingly important. It also gives our secondary industries, machinery dealers, it might be our financial institutions, it might be our research institutions, the opportunity to network with a group of people in one place. But it goes even broader than that, because every community shuts down its small communities shut down for their field days or their shows, because everybody wants to go along and see what the rest of the community's been doing for the last year. And schools will take a day off and take their kids down to the field days or the show so that they can participate in it, and it becomes an education experience about what really is going on in their community, not just about maths and reading and writing. The importance of our field days and our shows just cannot be underestimated, and I'd just like to put on the record tonight my personal appreciation and the appreciation of I think just about every community across rural and regional South Australia for the extraordinary hard work and efforts of the volunteers that go towards putting together these amazing events that are just so integral for the success and the unity of our local communities.
Thank you, Senator Ruston.